Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today it's another trying to fix it video. So I've bought something faulty off eBay and I'm going to do my best to fix it using limited knowledge. So the thing in here I believe is a Wii. So let's open it up and just make sure it is. And if it is, then apparently it's got, the problem with it is it's got two discs stuck inside it. So I'm hoping, what I'm going to try to do before I try to take it apart is I'm going to try and get the discs out without taking it apart, because then it might be a very easy fix. And not only then will I have a working Wii, but I will hopefully have the two discs inside as well. It says in the description that one of them might be Mario Kart, and if that is true, then that game is actually still quite expensive, because even though the Wii is getting old now, that is actually a very good game. So let's open this up and see if it is what I think it is. Now, as always, when I do these videos, I don't claim to be a professional at this. What you see is probably going to be the incorrect way of doing things. There might be much easier way of doing things, but I've never taken apart a Wii before, so if I do take it apart, don't follow it thinking that it's the correct way to do it. This is just more for entertainment, just to see if I can fix broken things off eBay with limited skill. Right, okay, so it is definitely the Wii. Right, let's see, we've got a steering wheel, SpongeBob, another SpongeBob, so you can tell that this Wii was probably owned by a young child. Well, then again, Call of Duty, maybe not, that might have been for the dad. And this is it here. Oh, I can see already. Oh, hold on a minute, it's just got two discs stuck here. I might be able to just pull them out using a bit of force. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the power in, hit the eject button, and then I'm just going to pull them out while hitting eject and see if that's going to fix it. Toy Story Mania, another steering wheel, right, what else have we got? A couple of chocolate wrappers, and we've got the Wii power supply, which is handy, that's good. RCA leads and the sensor bar as well, so that looks like everything. Right, let me show you what I paid for this, and then I'll neaten it up and get started. So I paid for this, if you have a look here, I paid $12.99 for the actual item and $3.95 for the postage. So that's going to be, what's that going to be, £16.94, so just under £17. And it says here, Nintendo Wii console bundle, use spares or repair. It's got a few pictures with it. And it just says here, Nintendo Wii for spares or repair, TV not included. Comes with a few Wii accessories, only what is in the picture, TV, not the TV. Unit has two CDs stuck inside. One is suspected to be Mario Kart, so it would be good if it is, because that's still an expensive game. Sold as seen, spares or repair, TV not included. Right, okay, so it all seems good. The very fact that they keep going on about the TV not included says to me that it's not a business seller, it's just a normal seller, and they don't want bad feedback. So let me clear away the boxes and we'll get started on the Wii. Okay, so first things first, let's just plug in the power supply and let's see if we can get these discs out just by hitting the eject button and pulling at the same time. Alright, so that's plugged in now. Now let's just have a quick look at the Wii to begin with, see what it looks like. Right, okay, so it's quite grubby, but hopefully that will come up with a clean. It's missing the two top flaps here to cover up the GameCube ports and also the GameCube memory cards there. It is, I thought I heard, yeah, there's a bit of rattle going on, and it is really dirty. Look at, I don't know if you can see that, but look at all the dirt. Well, you can, look at all the dirt there. So the vents are nearly blocked as well, so it's going to need a good clean. Oh, it's got a memory card in it, and it is actually one for the Wii. I've never seen one of them before. Well, not that I've looked, but yeah, okay, that's interesting. Right, okay. I wonder, could there be any digital games on that? Right, okay, so let's plug in the power. Right, so we've got power there. I'm not connecting it to TV yet. Okay, so it makes the right noises. Let's pull it at the same time. Oh, they've gone in now. Oh, that was a mistake. Right, okay, so they're in now, which I didn't want to happen. So what it did is it pulled it in, which I suppose it would do if they were there. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a disc. Oh, here we go, they're back out again here. Oh, sorry, look, they don't go in, they just go in with gravity, just pulls them out to there. I think what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to break it by getting tweezers and forcing it in, I think I'm going to use a third disc to try to put it in there and see if this will grip it to pull it out. Now I'm not bothered about breaking this one because this one only costs 50p, so it's not an expensive game. Let's zoom in a bit. Right, so I'm going to put that one in, I'm going to hit eject and pull it out at the same time. Really are jammed in there. See, I'm not, I don't really know, if I'm honest with you, how it works in here. I don't know what grabs it to bring it in, because I've never seen one taken apart. And it looks like there's a few marks here, so it looks like it's been, you know, that tried to use tweezers before. I'm just going to try to rotate it a bit, see if that helps bring it out. So I thought I'd be able to get the top one out. Saying that, I'm not sure now if I'm dreaming or not, but I thought I seen two discs to begin with. Now I only see one. Or is there two discs there? No, that is two. Beg your pardon, it is two. Right, okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some double-sided tape. So what I'm going to do, I've got this disc here and I'm going to use double-sided tape on here and here, and I'm going to put it in there, and hopefully then the disc might stick to this one and then I'll be able to pull it out that way, because I haven't got enough of a grip there to use force to pull it out. I mean, I feel like I'm using quite a bit of force, but it's not coming. No, it's not coming at all. So I'm going to do that, and then if I can't get anywhere doing it this way, then I'll have to dismantle it to try to get to the disc. So I'm hoping once you take it all apart that you will be able to get to the discs. But again, I've never taken one of these apart before, so I'm not really sure at this moment in time. Let me get some tape. Okay, so I've got two tapes now. I'm going to try the thinner tape to begin with, and then if not, I can try the other tape. So this is just double-sided tape. It's not very good quality. It's just cheap stuff from the pound shop, but I'll give it a go and I might get lucky. So I suppose really you don't have to put a Wii game in here. It could be, obviously it could be absolutely anything. So if you've got an old music CD or something that you don't like, it would have the same effect. No, I suppose the risk with this is that I could end up getting this stuck in there as well, and then I'll have 3 discs stuck in there. But I'm hoping that once the others stick onto this, that I'll be able to ease them out of it. Okay, so you can see what I've done now. There's just a bit of sticky tape here and here. I'm just going to place it in. Can't really get in between them, so I think I'm just going to do it on top, I think. Right, okay, so it's there now. So now I'm going to press eject. No, that's not worked. And I've just pulled out the kind of furry lining from the the dust cover here as well. Let me go below it. It really is well and truly grabbed in there. I might end up doing damage, you see. Maybe it'd be best for me to take this apart because I don't know the workings on the inside. I'll probably end up doing damage if I keep doing this. I thought by now they might have come out. And I'm using quite a bit of force there, and it's not coming out at all. No. Okay. I'm going to try it one more time on top. Oh, that didn't sound good. No. Oh, here we go, here we go. This one's coming out more now. I don't want to break the game, because if it is a Mario Kart game, then it's going to be worth a bit. Oh, and this is... I was going to say it's small, but it's not. Oh, for the surprises, wondering what game it's going to be. I think this is Mario Kart Wii. That doesn't sound healthy. Right, that doesn't look good. That's going to scratch. Oh, it's all scratched up. If you have a look at the bottom there, can you see the metal? That must be the metal tray it goes in. So, I've probably done more damage now. That looks really scratched up. Right, okay. I think, because I can see the metal tray there now, I think it's probably best for me to push this back in. And then, there we go. And then take it apart. Yeah, I probably could have got it out with more brute strength, but what I'm worried about is if I wanted to protect the Wii, then it probably would have been okay by just yanking that out. But I've probably already ruined it, but I want it to protect the game as well, because in an instance like this, the game is nearly worth as much as a console. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart and actually see if we can dismantle it to get the games out. Right, so I'm just going to clean up this game here, because this game should still be usable. And then we'll take it apart. Okay, so let's turn it off. And now I'm going to unplug it. So we're working on a completely dead console. Now, as always, I've never taken one of these apart before, so please don't copy me, because I will be probably doing it the wrong way. So let's take out the SD card to begin with. Little screw here, I know that that's for a clock battery. I'm thinking maybe there's screws under here because I can't see any. Oh, there's one here, there's a few here, but that's just probably going to release this top bit. Might be some under here possibly. Oh yeah, there is. Okay. Right, let's start by undoing the screws we can see, and we'll find out what happens. So on this one I need a little tri-wing screwdriver. If you look closely there, you can just see that it is in a tri-wing shape. Okay, so that's easy enough there. There's just a little connector holding it together here. I'm just going to pull that out like so. So now we have the front off it. Oh, here we go. Here we go, look at that. Aha, that was an easy one. Just a shame I've mucked this one up. You never know, I might be lucky or I might be able to get it clean. So the games are... Okay, so it's Toy Story dodgy DVD copy and Mario Kart Wii. So I presume what happened was that was already in here, and then maybe the child wanted to watch Toy Story, put it in thinking that it was going to play, and then ever since then it's been jammed. Right, okay, so I wish I'd known it was that easy to do in the first place, because then I could have just taken the cover off and then I wouldn't have had to probably risk damage depending on what the previous owner did to it. So before I give this a clean up, I'm just going to put it back together just to see if it works. I need to get a TV up here and also a Wiimote as well, because it didn't come with any Wiimotes, and we'll see what happens. You never know, I might be lucky and maybe Mario Kart does work. Bit of a shame that I haven't got a second Wii game, but still it's good to have Mario Kart Wii because that's one of the more expensive games to have. Right, so I'm just going to pop this connector back in. Doesn't look like I've done any damage to the dust cover anyway. I'm not going to put the covers on just yet, these little covers, because every time I do it they're going to lose a bit of stickiness. So I'm just going to put it back together, see if it's working, and then I can put them on at the very end. Okay, time to get the TV set up and let's see what happens with this. Okay, so I've got the TV up here now. Let's change the input to AV. Plug the AV into the back and plug in the power adapter again. Right, let's turn it on. And I need to sync up a controller as well, so I've got one here for my actual Wii. So we need to hit the sync button. And the sync button here. Right, okay, so that's synced up. Worryingly, there's nothing on the actual TV. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I didn't change input. AV. Excellent, here we go. Right, okay, also I need to plug in the sensor bar, I forgot about that. And that's the sensor bar in. Just balance that up here for the time being. Right, okay, so that's working. Go to SD card. Never had an SD card in the Wii, so I'm not actually sure how that how it works. But it doesn't look like there's anything there, does it? Right, okay, let's plug in the dodgy game, this one here, and let's see if it works. It's got a load of scratches on it. I really don't think that's going to work. Let's see what happens. It doesn't want to take that. Tell you what I'm going to do, rather than muck around with that one, let's try this one here. No, it's not taking it in anymore. Okay. So either I've damaged it or it was already damaged. Chances are I probably damaged it. That's a shame. So I need to take it apart to find out why it's not grabbing in. If I've bent the metal, maybe I can bend it back into place, or maybe it's not going to be fixable. Yeah, it's not grabbing at all. Right, okay, so it's not going to be an easy fix. but it probably is because I was trying to force the discs out to begin with, you know, and I was actually forcing. Remember when I got it out today, I was really pulling at it, and that's what was causing all these scratches up here. So to see if this game works, I'm just going to get another Wii just to see if the actual game works, and then I can take apart this Wii here. So I'll get the other Wii set up and then we'll see if the game's working. Okay, so I've got my Wii set up on top here, so we'll turn this one on. I need to sync up the controller to this one, and then we'll see what happens with it. The game disc could not be read. Please read the Wii operations manual for more information. So it looked like it was nearly read. I'm just going to give it a clean up. Right, okay, so I've given it a bit of a clean up now, but there's still loads of scratches on it. It's hard to see in the camera, but you can probably see them around here, and also all around the edges as well, as all scratched. So let's see if that makes a difference. Maybe that could be another video trying to fix a broken disc. Right, okay, so that's not going to work. Right, okay, so it's a bit irritating because I'm pretty sure that was probably me that damaged that disc. I'm just going to try the other ones quickly just to see if they are working or not. It says an error has occurred. Press the eject button and remove the disc. Okay, so it's not liking this one either. Again, this one looks like it's got damage here. Right, so I'm not having much luck with the discs. I'm just going to clean this one up. Right, okay, so that disc is not working, and that definitely wasn't my fault. All I did was unpack that one. Right, let's try the other ones. It says the disc could not be read. Refer to the Wii operation. What is going on here? Starting to think now it might be a fault with my actual Wii itself. Strange. Again, it's full of scratches. Again, there's loads of scratches on it. Right, let's try this one. That one's asking for a software update, which I can't be bothered to go through at the moment. This is another SpongeBob one, the creature from the Krusty Krab. Okay, well that one's working fine. So out of all of them, we've got this one working. I'm sure this one will work once we do the update, but the ones that are not working are Toy Story Mania, Call of Duty, and also, possibly my fault, possibly not, the Mario Kart Wii. Probably my fault. Right, okay, so yeah, not great as far as the discs are concerned, but let's try to now find out if we can fix the actual Wii itself. So let's put away my Wii and let's get back to the faulty one. Okay, so it's time to dismantle this again and find out if we can bend it back into shape or find out what the problem is. Alright, so we're back to where we were before. Let's just take out the SD card. So it looks like I have to dismantle it completely to get to this top bit. Okay, now we're getting there. Fine, okay, that's come out nicely. Also gives me an opportunity to clean it as well, so now I can really give this vent here a clean, and the back vent as well. You can see that the dirt that's on it. Okay, well that just comes straight out. I can just wash that. Right, let's find out what's going on here. Right, so this has just come out of it. And that looks, do you know what that looks like? That looks like a UK plug, the top of a UK plug. Look, Let me take out the power supply. You see that bit there at the top? That's exactly what that is, isn't it? Is that the same size? Wow, so everything's been shoved into this one. Bit worrying why a child was playing with a plug, but that is what that's from, isn't it? Right, I'm wondering whether this was going to stop it from reading, because if that was shoved in it, maybe the disc didn't get pulled in far enough. So I think before I go any further, it's going to be a case of I'll leave everything apart. I'll just put the front back onto it, and then I'll plug it in again and see if it will now read the disc. Okay, so I'm going to pop the power back into it. We'll turn it on. I think this needs to be in it. Oh, it is on. Sorry, it is on. Right, okay. Let me get a disc. No, it's not taking it. Right, so I have to work out now why it's not taking that. So, does this need to be down further? Let me put a bit of pressure on this and see if it takes it. No. Do I need this bit plugged in at the front? It's still on, right, okay, let's have a look here. So it's still not taking it in, it's not dragging it in. Right, let me zoom in so you guys can see the mechanism. I think unless I take apart the good one to see the difference between them, I don't think I'm going to be able to find out what's what here. So it's definitely, as soon as I go in there, it's reading it. So it's definitely reading the disc as it, I mean, it's reading that something's been inserted. But then whatever normally pulls it in is not pulling it into its place. And that's what I'm not sure. In all these mechanisms here seem to be moving really nice, but it's not, you know, the motor thing that's pulling it in to its correct position isn't working, and I don't know whether that was me earlier or not. You know, rather than ruin this disc, I might as well ruin the one that's not working, this one here. So it looks like there's going to be a little sensor here that recognises the disc, and then it tells the motors to pull it in, because there you go, you can see that that's working straight away. Right, I think I'm going to have to take this apart further to get the top off it, because I can't see the motors that's supposed to pull it in. I don't know if it's these side bits or whether it's further down into it or not, but I think I'm going to have to take these screws out here and see what happens. So I'm just going to, I'm just going to unplug it for the time being. Just kill the power that way. I know that's not what you're supposed to do. Problem is, when I take off this top cover here, I've got a feeling all these things are just going to spring out at me, and then I'm not going to be able to get them back into the same position. See if that will gently come out or not. Yes, it will. Right, okay, that's good, that's good. Now, what's attaching it? So there's a ribbon cable here. Right, I wonder if there's a way I can undo that. Yeah, if I undo that screw, it should all come apart. So I presume, yeah, this must be the little sensor as it goes in. That's just stuck down there. So now that will allow me to... Yeah, excellent. Right, okay. Right, I don't think I've caused any damage by doing that. So let's have a look now, see what's happening. So there's definitely like a kind of worm gear type thing here. So the motor's here. Twist this round, so it must be something up here that grabs it and pulls it in. I'm trying to think what I seen earlier. I definitely seen the metal part of it earlier. Let's take this out. When I was looking through, and I can't remember exactly what I seen. You know, it must have been this bit that I seen. Did that come? No, that doesn't come forward. I'm trying to think. When I looked through it before, oh, it's these bits here at the front. Right, okay, I'm getting there now. See these bits here? These were the bits that I seen. So I'm wondering now, have I bent these out of place? So maybe when you put it in, this is supposed to lift up and then push the disc in. I wonder if that's how it works. Maybe I've bent them completely down. They look like they're very well made though. I mean, this one definitely does look a little bit bent here compared to that one. But not really badly bent. But when I looked in before, I could definitely see those bits. I think what happens is when you put the disc in, I think this, because it looks like this is at an angle here, I think that this moves this whole bottom section up and then in. I mean, this is the laser, the reader here. So I think this mechanism here, this might be the one that I've bent out of shape. Oh, I can see now. Right, okay, starting to make sense. Right, if you have a look, let me get my torch, or flashlight as it's known in the US. Right, okay, have a look in here and you can see just behind this white plastic thing there's grey rollers. And obviously those rollers spin to bring the disc into place. But those rollers are not gripping onto the disc, which makes me think that this whole mechanism is not lifting up. Yeah, so I bet they are spinning, but they're just spinning too low, so they're not hitting the disc to bring the disc in. So I think that's what the problem is. So it's like this plastic mechanism is not lifting up into place. I wonder whether I'll be able to turn it on just like this now. Let's try it and see what happens. Right, so that's spinning there and now that's ejecting. Why isn't it actually lifting it up? Right, I can just see the grey rollers in there, so I'm going to try that again. Right, I don't think that they are turning. Oh, here we go. Is that little cog there supposed to be in further? You see here, I can see those ones there turning, but I can't see this one here turning. Oh, now I can hear it more. I think this has gone out of place here. Right, okay. Right, my camera's saying 3 minutes left, so let me delete some previous videos so I've got more room, because this is going to be a longer one. Also, I've just found that. On the floor. So obviously that's come out of somewhere, or it's snapped out of somewhere. Okay, back again. So I've got 6 hours of recording now, so I'm hoping it won't take that long. Right, okay, so what I'm thinking is, let's just unplug the power again a second. What I'm thinking is, there's this little screw here, sorry, not a screw, this little gear here, and it looks out of place. So these are all spinning, but this one isn't. And as I put a bit of pressure on it, it then started making that clicking noise. And I don't know if you remember earlier on or not, but there was definitely a clicking noise. So I'm going to, there you go, can you see, I've just pushed that back in there into place. I'm wondering whether that's all it needs. I'm a bit worried about where this part is from, because this definitely came out of it. And I can't see anything right now. But what I'll do is I'm going to plug it back in and see if now that will allow the things to the discs to move in or not. There we go. Excellent. But that hasn't gone down, but maybe I need to have the top on that to make that go down. But it's definitely taken it in now. So I think what I'll do is let's put it back together, because maybe that's what all these mechanisms do. This might hit another switch to say that yes, we're in position now. So let's unplug it again. I hope I'm not going to do too much damage by just unplugging it without actually shutting it down. Right, okay, so that's that working. Obviously when I was forcing it out to begin with, I knocked that out of place. So that's in there now. I'm hoping that's going to stay. I really would like to know where this thing's come out of though. See, it could be for something different. It could be for something up the front. It might not be anything to do with this at all. I don't know, I just found it on here. I don't remember where. I didn't see it come out of anything. Right, let's put it back together. And let's just see if it reads it. So I'm going to feed this back through here. So it might be from this part here, because I did have this on the ground. This looks to be a more see-through plastic though, while this is all white plastic. So I wouldn't have said it was from this part here. It's a different colour. Now let's see if this disc stays in. No. Right, so this part isn't going down. This has to go down to engage it. Now I wonder, is it not going down because it's not positioned correctly, or is there some, you know, the sensor or whatever it is that tells it that this is in place, is that faulty, or is it this bit here that's refusing to go down? I mean, I don't even know how this is supposed to. Or maybe does something bring this up? Does something push the disc up onto this rather than this going down? Maybe that's just to allow a bit of vibration. Maybe something underneath pushes it up onto this. Oh, here we go. When I did that, it did a funny noise. Let me try that again. There we go. So when you do that, it locks into place. Then it ejects it again. Oh, this is strange. Right, I'm going to study that again. I want to know whether this goes down. I wasn't really paying attention. When I hit this into the edge here, I want to know, does this go down or does something go up to it? Right, that definitely goes down, but it's not in the right position. But that is in the right position. But does it stay? No. Because it's not spinning. I suppose it has to spin in order to think it's in the right position. Well, okay, I'll take it apart again and see if I can see anything that, see if I can see anything that's wrong with that. This one here, that works. When I push this one all the way into here, it then the middle bit goes down. I mean, this mechanism seems to be okay, it doesn't seem to be bent anywhere. Right, so I have to find out why this is not going down into place. Or why it's not staying, why it's not spinning when it is in place. Could it be because I bent this bit earlier? Okay, I'm going to take it apart further just to see if I can see anything obvious, because I know it's a mechanism thing, but I can't really work out what's happening with it. Now there's a very good chance when I do this that I'm going to muck it up, because if these mechanisms come out here, it's going to be very hard to get them back into the correct order again. We've got a connector here. And we've also got a ribbon cable connector as well, so let's see if I can loosen these off. Oh, there goes one. And let's loosen this one off here as well. There we go. Right, now, I'm wondering whether these are paired with each Wii or whether you can just interchange them. See, the thing is, the Wiis are so cheap that really it's, it's probably just as well off to get a working one, because I know they used to be about £20 UK in CEX, and that would come with a 2-year guarantee. I think they've gone up a little bit now, but you really wouldn't want to waste too much time on it, because they're not worth the money. Now, is that supposed to be just loose? Yeah, maybe. Hold on a minute, this isn't right. Look at this here. This has had some sort of mod or something to it, hasn't it? Look at this. There's can you see it's got a chip here? And these wires, this is definitely not done by Nintendo. This has been like teed into the chip here. Now, I don't know anything about mod chips, but this definitely has had something done to it. That's interesting, isn't it? I wonder whether it's... Do you know what? I don't even know. Could that make it play any game? Rather than, would this be like an early form of homebrew or something on it? I don't know anything about like homebrew on the Wii. But that definitely isn't normal, is it? Can you see there it's been... Will it just focus in? There's 3 wires teed in there. I wonder why I didn't just go onto the actual pins off the chip rather than going into the casing off it, and then this thing's been put in. See if I can get any model number or something off that. Clean this off. That's only a bit of sticky tape anyway. F683 is that? Alright, okay, I'll have to Google that, find out what's going on. But again, that's not really going to be why it's not taking the discs in. Interesting. Well, okay, well I'm kind of glad I took this out now, because I want to learn more about what's happening here. This bodgy job here, find out what's going on. Alright, okay, back to this anyway. Let me find out, see if I can work out this mechanism here, why it's not going down. Right, I'm going to get some long nose pliers and bend that back into place just in case that does make any difference. Right, if possible, I want you to try and keep your eye on that grey roller in there. And if you have a look, when I put the disc in, it brings it in. But then if you have a look, it just keeps on spinning. It's probably too hard to see. Let me try to zoom in more. And I'm wondering whether it's just not grippy enough. Let's say if that roller was covered in dust or dirt, then maybe that's why it's not pushing it in that last little bit there, because it's just spinning on the disc there. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to, you know, cover a bit of, cover the disc in sticky tape again. I'm going to put it in there and I'm going to try to clean that roller, because then if it gives it that extra grip to push it into that last little bit, then hopefully that will be it. Right, okay, I was going to do the sticky tape bit, but then I thought before doing that, I'll hit it with a screwdriver, because look, I'm on the disc now and it's still not going in, and I'm putting force there. So there's something blocking this from going in further, because if it was just not gripping, it would allow me to push it in. So there's no point in cleaning the roller if it's not going to fix it. So there's something else that's stopping it from going in. Oh, okay, that was interesting. I just hit that bit there and then it went. I just hit this metal plate here and it went in. Let me zoom out of it. Let's eject that. Right, so there was just a little bit of, I just tapped that metal bit there, this bit here, and it allowed it in. Let's try that again. There, you see that when I tap that there? It allows it in. I didn't do it that time. Right, so I have to do that in there. So maybe something's just not aligned properly with this. Right, what is this bit here? It's this thing here. Maybe this bit, maybe I bent this bit, you know, when I was forcing it out. Because when I move that there, right, instead of moving it this side, I'm going to try to see if I can get to it this side. Okay, so that disappears behind there. Okay, right, well I don't have to put much force there for it to start reading it, so take the cover off again. I think it's something to do with this metal thing here. Keep looking and when I find out what it is, if I find out what it is, I'll get back to it again. Right, okay, so I haven't worked it out yet, but when you put the disc in, all these things move around, and the problem is you've then got to just wiggle something over here. You know, for example, you've just got to put a little bit of pressure on this here, and then it starts moving, yeah? Or just move one of these bits ever so slightly here, and then it all kicks into place. Well, these things obviously line up with this side here, so I'm wondering whether there's an issue with this bit here. So for example, you know, this has to move around the place, so those you know, these points and stuff here, I'm not sure which ones yet, but let's say this one here probably corresponds to in here, and then when the disc is probably all the way in, this must then, you know, push this down ever so slightly or move this to here. So I think what's happening is by moving this to here, it then allows, when you move this, you see this is moving here, and then it would allow this to move to a certain distance to then allow this to go down, which makes the disc start spinning. So it all comes back to this point here, and I'm hoping it's just not wear. So that's what I'm looking at the moment, is this mechanism here. Because again, this would coincide with when I was forcing the disc out earlier, that I might have slightly misaligned something, or just maybe put a bit of extra strain on something which is slightly out of place. Okay, so I'm still struggling with this, and I'm still not 100% sure where the problem is, but if I just move this little bit forward here, you can see it then works. So I've been concentrating back here, but maybe the issue is more nearer the front here. Let me just eject it again. So look, I let it fail the first time, because it looks like that bit wants to move forward. You see now the disc is going to come out and then go back in again. And now if I just give it a little helping hand there, and you see it goes. So I'm wondering whether I need to take it apart here and grease everything up a bit, because maybe it just needs a little bit of, maybe there's a bit of grit or dirt in there or something, because it doesn't take an awful lot of pressure to get that working. I'll just show you that one more time. Right, so we put it in, and all we have to do is just tap that little bit there, and then it goes. So I'm thinking about cleaning it all up in here and seeing if that makes a difference. See, now it's spinning fine. I've also noticed that there is damage to the tooth on this gear here, but I'm not sure whether that would cause it. I mean, obviously it's supposed to be there, but I can't really see how this one engages anyway, because it seems to be spinning at the back. So it's this one here, so it seems to be engaging on this one here, but obviously these are here for a reason. It's to turn this one, but I don't really know. I'm not too sure. Maybe it is to do with that broken tooth there on that one there. That's causing it to skip. I'm wondering if there's a way I could like reseat it so that this isn't the last one. So for example, you know, if I could take this off and spin it round just a quarter of a turn, then maybe there would be enough to skip it on the way in or something. I don't know. I'm really not sure, but there's definitely damage to that tooth there. You can see it's at the back, but it's not up the front there. That one there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely dismantle it. I really didn't want to do it because I'm going to struggle getting all these in the correct order, but at least I've got the video to help me out. And I'm gonna see, you know, maybe try doing that gear a quarter of a turn and just give everything a good clean. Make sure there's no grit or dirt in there that's stopping it from doing that final little push. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try and take this all apart. Right, you remember I was mentioning this cog before, you know, this one here with the broken tooth? Well, maybe that is the problem, because I was thinking, well, it doesn't touch anything, but if you have a look on the inside here, zoom out again, can you see that there's actually teeth here? So obviously if one of them was broken, it's not going to give it that extra push, is it? So I'm pretty sure now it is that tooth that's at fault, because let's take this out here. This is going to be in it like this, and as it spins, when it gets to that broken tooth, it's not going to give it that extra oomph. So do you know what I mean? Because it's on that inside bit there. So if it's there at the end and it breaks, then it's not going to give it that extra push. But by me rotating it, then that might make the difference. Because as long as it doesn't end on the last one with the broken tooth, then I might be okay. Right, okay, the moment of truth. Let's plug it in and see what it does now. Right, so it's still not taking it all the way in. Right, okay, let's see if it ejects. Yeah, so it's the same problem. I mean, you know, you can see that there's little bits of, if you look here, there's little bits of what look like bits of broken gear and stuff here. So realistically, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this working. So what it is, it must be that tooth that's going around here, because it's got that missing bit on it. It's not giving it that extra little bit to bring it over. I don't know whether to, I mean, I could try, I have got like a 3D printer pen, and I could maybe try to add a little bit to it, to the gear, to try to bulk it out a bit. So I'm kind of pleased that I found the fault on it. I'm pretty sure it's that, because if you have a look here, remember the broken gear on this part here, so when I put it in, it does all that, and all it needs is just a millimetre to there, and then it works. Right, okay, so I think I will take the gear out one more time and just, you know, just to try to do something with it, maybe put a bit of super glue or something on it, just to see if I can bulk it out to give it that extra push. The other thing I really want to look into is that mod chip, because I thought it was unusual that this came with an SD card, and I'm wondering if there's a load of games. Well, actually it's not going to be a load of games because there's only 2 GB, but I'm wondering if there's games on here, and then that there's a certain way to get into that mod chip, you know. So maybe maybe the person didn't really use the discs much on here, maybe they loaded the games onto here and then hacked it that way. I really know nothing about that chip. I presume that's what it's for, but at this moment in time I don't know. So I'm going to take this apart again. I'm going to do it off camera now because I've been filming for what seems like hours. So I'm going to try to muck about with that gear, see if I can fix it up a little bit, and then put it back together, see if it makes any difference. And obviously if it does, I will film that particular part, and then I'm going to go onto the internet and find out more about this little mod chip. So I'm going to write down the number of that mod chip and see what it does. Okay, so I'll come back to this later. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to fix this one here. You can see that this one is a lot different than all the others. It's near enough missing. And what I'm going to do to try and build that up, I'm just going to use this product here. Now it's a bit of a sort of DIY, said to be able to repair plastic. It's not great, but it does actually work a little bit if you are just doing plastic welding. So, you know, if I just want to build a bit up onto the plastic, so hopefully it will work for that. So I'm going to try that now. Right, okay, so I've taken the lid off, and now I'm just going to apply a bit onto here and see what happens. Hopefully afterwards I might be able to shape it. So the idea with this is that you just use the UV light on top, and then it's supposed to form into a solid little lump of plastic. It's more like sort of plastic welding, to weld 2 bits of plastic together. Now it is a bit of a gimmick, but it does work for certain things. So on the box it sort of shows that it can fix glasses and stuff, and it doesn't do that, not when I use it anyway. But for certain jobs it is okay to use. So this is the little UV light that I'm shining on it. It's supposed to hold it on there for about 5 or 6 or 7 seconds. I'm going to hold it for a good 10 to make sure. Right, so that should be hard now. Which it is. So now I'm going to try to, I need to put another blob up on the top here, and then I'm just going to try to form it by just basically cutting it. Okay, so I've used a small knife to kind of shape it a little bit, and there you go. You can see it looks better than it did. Obviously it's not perfect. You can see there's a big gap and a small gap, but I'm going to give it a go, see what happens. You never know. It might work, it might fall apart straight away. Feels strong enough. So I'm going to put it all back together and we'll see what happens. Right, time to test it again. No, that doesn't sound good. No, still not pulling it down. Yeah, it's exactly the same as it was before. only that it's much noisier now. Well, I'm certainly making it worse, not better. Right, so this is in the way now, so it's not going. Yeah, right, okay. What's happening is it's acting as a brake now because this is actually hitting against the disc. Right, okay, I think I'm going to have to give up on this one. I've given it my best shot. I'm going to just play around with that gear a few more times because obviously by me doing that you can see now that obviously it's made it a bit bigger or something and it's pushing it in towards this, acting as a brake. The strange thing is it's still not grabbing it in, so I can understand if it was to grab it in and then do that, then I would think that that bit's too big. But right now I'm still not 100% sure it is that cog that's at fault, because by twisting it you would think that it would then end up, if the broken bit was at the very end or the very start of the travel, you would understand that it wouldn't grab, but if it was in the middle you think that it would still work. So I think I might be just wasting my time here. Is it worth getting a new one of these? Well, not really, because the price of the Wii is so cheap now, it wouldn't be worth it. I mean, yes, yeah, I could buy a broken one for maybe £5 and then swap the drive out, and I'm sure it probably will work okay, even if I have to change out that board at the back there. That's quite easy to do. I haven't actually had to take the motors out, but worst case scenario, you could probably just solder them in anyway. So it looks like it is easy enough. But it's not really worth it, apart from the fun of taking it apart and seeing how it all works. In my opinion, it wouldn't really be worth looking for a second-hand drive to fix this with the prices that they are at the moment. Obviously in the future things might change, and if the Wii suddenly becomes really popular and expensive, then it might be worthwhile. So I'm just going to muck around a little bit longer off camera, and then I'll come back and tell you the final result. Okay, so curiosity has got the better of me and I've taken apart my good Wii. I didn't want to, but I really want to find out what's wrong with this. So now this is the good drive and I'm going to put it in the bad Wii and see what happens. And then I think I am going to go ahead and take this one apart to get to that little gear and see if it does anything. So first of all, I'm just going to do it like this, just to see if you can do a straight swap without worrying about that board down there. So let's have a look now. Let's plug this in so it goes into the TV as well. It hasn't thrown up any errors yet. Right, it looks to be working, so it looks like you can just do a straight swap, and it's very easy to do because you've only got that ribbon cable and that one connector underneath it. Right, well that looks like it's working, so looks like you can do a straight swap. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out that little gear and then see if it works, and then I'll know 100% that that gear is at full. Realistically, is it worth doing this? No, because I'm sure you could pick these up very cheaply, but I just want to do it just to prove what the fault is on this broken one here. Okay, so the bad drive is still dismantled, but it's got the new gear on it. And what I've done with the good drive is I've put the bad gear on the good drive. So this has got the faulty little gear with the bit snapped off. And I want to see now what will happen, whether it will work. And then I'll try it with the good one as well. So let's see. No, same thing. So 100% is the gear. Well, I can't say 100% yet, I might have put it back faulty. But remember, this is the good drive now, and the same thing's happening because it's got the bad gear in it. Right, so I'm really pleased about that. So let me turn this one off. And now I'm going to put this one together because this has got the good gear in it now, and let's see what happens. Okay, so here we have the faulty drive with the new cog, so let's see what happens now. Interestingly, another one of these things have fallen out, so they seem to be spreading. This one hasn't got the inside bit, and this one here has got a little bit on the inside, so they're definitely to click onto something to hold them in place, but I still don't know what that is. So I started with one, and now I've got two missing, which is slightly worrying. Right, okay, let's plug this in. Tuck the excess wire back up there. Right, now let's see if this is going to work. Right, what I'm going to do is I am going to screw it all down now and make sure it's nice and secure. Right, okay, so that feels like it's nice and secure, so let's plug it in, turn the TV on. Now let's see what happens. Excellent, there we go. So 100% it is the gear that's faulty. Right, okay. Now let's see if we'll actually load the game up. Come up there. So now that I know it's that gear that's faulty, maybe I will take it out again and give it another go at repairing it, maybe using some super glue this time. The batteries are running low, that's fine. There we go, press the synchro button on the Wii balance board and on the Wii console. So, yes, it was me. I'm almost certain it was me that broke that cog, because when I was forcing it out, I was basically yanking this out here, so obviously I've bent up the cog. But at least now I know that it is the cog that's faulty. Now, I had a little look earlier, and you can't buy these cogs, you know. I don't think they're really something that normally goes faulty, so you would have to buy a replacement disk drive. And actually they're more expensive than I thought. They look to be around about 12, 13, 14, 15 UK pounds. Yet you can buy other faulty Wiis for like, you know, 5, 6, 7 pounds. So what might be a better bet is to buy a faulty Wii, maybe something with like a faulty connection here or with a smash case, and take the disk drive out of that instead. Realistically, am I going to do that? Well, I've already got a working Wii. But what I'm going to do, now that I definitely know that it is that gear that's faulty, well, not this one, the one in the good drive, I'm going to take it apart, and I'm really going to do my best to fix it now, because although I put a bit of effort into it before, I didn't spend ages on it because I didn't really know if it was that was definitely faulty. But as you can see now, this drive is working just fine. So I'm still not 100% sure what these bits do, but they don't seem to be of any importance. Well, I don't think anyway. Also, I need to try a GameCube game as well. Maybe I should do that before I mess around with any gears. Right, I've got a GameCube game here. I'm not going to plug in a controller, I just want to see if it accepts the disc or not. Which it does. Yeah, there we go. Right, okay, I'm going to take out the gear out of this one here and do my very best to fix it. Okay, so I have to make this one here look like this one, and then it will be working. I've also noticed some of these are bent round here. Right, so that's what I'm going to work on now. Right, okay, so I've used some super glue mixed with baking powder. Somebody told me about that when I came to do my Joy-Con repair with the Joy-Cons flying off the Nintendo Switch. That was before this Trying to Fix series, and they said basically it sets kind of rock hard. So I've done that, and it does actually set really hard. So what I'm going to do now is, you can see that it was hard for me to get it perfect, so I've just put a big blob on it here. There you go. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to get a little Dremel tool, and I'm going to try to shape it and see if I can get it into the shape of one of the tooths. I might not be able to, but I'll give it my best shot. So I've got my Dremel tool now, which is this one here, and basically when you turn it on, it spins around the place, and then I'm going to hopefully just cut it back into the right shape. Right, so I'm going to keep working on that to try and get it better and better and more like this one here. Okay, so I've done it and I've put it back in, but it didn't come out good at all. The problem is the teeth are so fine, and the tools that I'm using are too big. What you need is tiny little files. The super glue and the baking powder seems to work really good because it's nice and solid, but it's just that my tools are too big. If anything, I have made it worse now. So I'm very, very, very close to giving up on this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the lid back on just to see what happens, and then I think it will be time to call it a day on this, because I've been on it for most of the day, which really isn't worth it when it comes to the little price that these are worth. Right, okay, this is the last time I'm going to try this now. Let's see what happens. Nope. Exactly the same as before. Oh, dearie me. Right, okay. And if I do that again. Oh, it's stuck this time. Let's try that again. Right, okay, so it's no better than before. So 100%, there's no doubt about it. It is this little gear here, but there's nothing I can do about it because you can't buy them. Maybe I might get lucky, and if I was to take apart a few toys or something, I might find one of them in there. But the odds of getting it to be exactly the same on the inside and the outside with the same number of teeth are going to be really, really slim. So I don't really think that's going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a proper budget job. It seems a shame to get rid of the Wii just for that one little gear there. So what I'm going to do is, I've got the problem with this little bit of plastic here. So I'm going to tie a bit of wire on it, and I'm going to do it so you just give it a little tug and then it's going to work. Obviously it's a complete bodge job, but if I can get it to work, then at least that's something. So let me muck around with this, find the best way to do it, and then I'll show you when I've done it. Okay, so the bodge job is in action now, and what I've done is I've just tied a tiny bit of wire around basically the bottom of this bit here. So this is from the good drive here, so I've just put a little bit of wire here, wrapped it around itself, twisted it, so now when I pull it, it helps pull this forward. It's not going to be ideal at all, and I don't even know when I put this through the actual faceplate whether it's going to work, but it's working right now. So when I put it in, it struggles like normal, give it a little tug, and then it starts working, and it will still eject as well. And it appears to also work with the GameCube as well. And when I go to eject it, so it might be a way around it. Obviously it's far from ideal, but it's still better than throwing it in the bin. So I'm going to try to put it back together now and find a place to get this through the actual faceplate so it will hopefully still work. While I'm putting it back together, I'm just going to give this a good clean to get rid of all that dirt from in there, and also the casing as well. Right, okay, so it's a lot cleaner now. If you look at this bit here, you can see my finger behind it. So it looks nicer than it did before, even if it has got a horrible wire sticking out the front. Right, let me do the final finishing up now, putting it all back together. I'm also going to put together my existing Wii as well, make sure that that's all working, and then we'll do the final test. Okay, so I've put both of them back together. This is my good one. I just want to make sure that this one is still working. You know, this was the one with the flaps on the top, so let's turn it on, pop a couple of discs in. I'm just going to fast forward through this because you don't need to watch this. That's reading that disc. And that's reading that one as well. Right, okay, let's go on to the faulty Wii and see if we have any luck now. Right, okay, so here we go. It's got power. You can see this is my little noose here to pull to get the discs in and out. So let's try it. Let's try it first of all with a disc. So turn it on. Okay, that doesn't sound great. Let's sync up this controller. Right, that's synced up. Right, here we go. Give it a little pull. There we go. Right, it does actually work. I know it is a complete and utter bodge job, but it does appear to be working. So let's try it with the GameCube disc. Just waiting until it recognises it up here. There you go, Wii Fit. And now I'm going to eject it, do a GameCube disc, and then I'm actually going to play a game. So it seems to eject okay. Give it a little pull. There you go. Yeah, and it's come up there. Right, eject. I'm just going to try the Wii disc one more time. You only have to give it the slightest, just the slightest little pull for it to work. Right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my working copy off Mario Kart Wii and we'll do a little bit of gameplay. Just wait until it comes up again. There you go, Wii Fit. So it appears to be working alright. Right, so this is my working copy, the one that's not all scratched up. Let's do a bit of gameplay, see how it performs. So I'm just going to fast forward through the initial loading. Yeah, well that's the sound coming through the actual Wiimote itself. Well, that's absolutely fine. And this is actually a very good game considering the age of it now. And that's why it still commands quite a big price. I still think you have to pay about, I think it's about £15 or £18 if you were to go into a high street shop, you know, like CEX in the UK and buy it. So there we go. So if I had the time again, obviously I wouldn't have just pulled the discs out, and I would have done it, you know, just taken it apart because it is so easy to do. And then I might have had a working copy of Mario Kart, and also I would have had a properly working Wii. But considering the mess I made of it, and considering I nearly gave up quite a few times, I am actually happy with the end result. So believe it or not, because I've spent half the day on this, I am treating it as a success, because I finally got it working, even though it was a roundabout way. So obviously it's far from ideal having to be able to pull that every single time you want to load up a game. but at the same time it does work, so it is a usable Wii. And the main thing is I have actually learned a lot. I've never really looked at disk drive before, so it was quite nice seeing all the gears and stuff work together, and I was pleased that I managed to definitely pinpoint it to the actual gear as well. Unfortunately there's nothing I can do because I can't buy that gear, so but at least I know that if I was to get a disk drive for it, that this Wii would be working perfectly again. Again, it doesn't make sense at the moment because they're not, you know, you can buy a brand new working one for a little over £20, so it seems pointless having to pay £12 or £13 for a disk drive. So that's why I've kind of hacked it together using this bit of cable. But in the future, you never know, in 10 years time they might be worth more money, and then it might be worth doing that then. But right now, did I make any money if you were to do this? No, not in this one, because I've only actually got 2 working games. But what I would like to do is I would like to look into how to repair these games. So I might now look on eBay or Amazon and see if you can get some kind of buffing kit to buff this out. And it would be worth it on a game like this. It might be too damaged because there is a lot of, you know, if you look at it there with the light shining on it, you can see there is a lot of scratches and marks on it. But you never know, that could be one for another video. So I might look into that because that's something I've never done. I've never tried to clean a disc before. I know they do have them in shops and stuff, but yeah, I'll give it a go, and that might be successful, and it might be something for, you know, for another video. So I actually enjoyed this one, even though I completely bodged it up at the beginning. Hopefully watching it you might have learned a few things. Now as far as that mod chip is concerned, I did look up on, I did Google it, and there wasn't really much information. This was the info that I got from the back of the chip, and I could be completely wrong, but I think it was one of the earlier attempts to kind of hack the Wii, because I believe there's easier ways to do it now. I've never done it, but I think it allows things like, you know, you can now play DVDs on it, and I think maybe it might be region unlocked as well. I could be wrong because I didn't spend a huge amount of time looking on Google about it, but there wasn't really that much info. But if I was to take a guess, I would say it's so it allows you to play DVDs, you know, as in films and stuff on it. So it was interesting to see that because I've never seen that before as well. So hopefully you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more Fix-It videos and also more how-to videos as well. Okay, take care. Bye now. Thanks for watching.